What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday to everyone out there. Going live today to talk a couple more things about Week 16 and best ball in general. If you like fantasy football / best ball, you're in the right place. I am a 3-time champion, looking to become a 5-time champion, maybe more this year. So be sure to like, subscribe, join the Discord. The link to do that is below. Okay, gonna let people stroll in a little bit here, but last night we had our first game of Week 16. Not the most consequential game, but it really depends on the rest of the slate. So let's talk about that before we get into the main topic of today. Chargers won 34-27. What that means for the playoffs is the Chargers are essentially a lock to make the playoffs. What that means for the playoffs is the Broncos are nearly a lock for the 7 seed, unless they actually get knocked out of the playoffs, which is now possible. It is possible. They finish up with Chiefs and Bengals. So they could lose out. There's a very thin path that the Bengals can make it. I'm not going to go over all that right now, but there were 3 guys who were somewhat fantasy relevant last night. There's other guys that were okay too. Could hit your lineup. That would be Bo Nix. Bo Nix gave you an okay game, about 20 fantasy points. Justin Herbert gave you about 23 fantasy points. Had about 24, but then took a couple kneel downs. Gus Edwards hit 20 fantasy points. As someone that drafted a lot of Gus Edwards, this is what we were looking for. No, it's not. Is it relevant? I couldn't advance any of them? Absolutely not, right? It's all about, we were 2 points out. How would this team have done last week? This team would have done garbage last week, so wouldn't have made it. We almost got a Gus in, but why did I like Gus Edwards? I like Gus Edwards because I didn't know he had offseason surgery. I liked that his playoff schedule included a game against the Broncos and a game against the Patriots in Week 17. And I thought J.K. Dobbins' health was a big question mark. Now, turns out Gus Edwards was super injured and J.K. Dobbins was not that injured. But, J.K. Dobbins got hurt again. Almost could expect that. And yeah, Gus Edwards did have the game of his life against the Broncos, and he could have a good game against the Patriots. Rooting against him now in some ways because I don't have him, but we knew. So he, not only does he get the 2 touchdowns are king, but he has like a 30-yard touchdown or 30-yard run, which helped him go from like 15 fantasy points to 20. So is Gus Edwards going to advance anyone by themselves? Absolutely not, right? But he could hit your lineup. He could hit your flex. He could hit your RB2. Could really help some teams that are thin at running back. So there was mercy in some ways where Hassan Haskins got a reception touchdown. If that was Gus, now you're looking at like almost 30 fantasy points. Darius Davis caught a touchdown. So, like Ladd had a fine game. Ladd's going to hit some lineups. But, naked Herbert is fine. Herbert with Gus, Herbert with Ladd. Bo Nix with, Sutton might hit some lineups. 10 PPR points, 7.5 half point. Audric Estime might hit some lineups, but really, overall, this game was not that relevant for the fantasy playoffs. You feel good if you have Gus. Don't get me wrong. He's the main guy. But even that, 20 fantasy points, there's going to be a lot of running backs that do that. And you especially love if you see lineups that have like Josh Palmer, if they have Marvin Mims, if they have Troy Franklin. Like those are teams you're very happy have a little bit of a lead right now. The schedule, we got a game tomorrow. Just wanted to get this out there. We got a game tomorrow. We got 2 games tomorrow. Texans, Chiefs, Steelers, Ravens, and then regular Sunday schedule after that. So just interesting. We got 2 games tomorrow. I'm probably playing chess, but could be a pretty relevant game. Texans, Chiefs, Joe Mixon, Nico Collins, the Chiefs guys, Derrick Henry, Lamar. These are consequential pieces for the fantasy playoffs. Now, a couple cool things happened here. One, Patrick got the creator of BBMDB. This tool is pinned in my best ball resource tab in my Discord. He got the, if I could click buttons correctly, he got the week 16 pods. So he has the Sims, and I believe originally the Sims weren't working correctly, where, in theory, one person, like if you're in a best ball semifinal pod, there's 579 pods. There should be one person from your roster always getting in here. I have played around with this a little bit, and I like what I'm seeing. Other people are tagging me too. I only clicked the button probably less than 20 times, and I've seen myself finish top 10 a lot. I've seen, someone posted one where I was first and seventh. So I'm rooting for those iterations. We'll just click the buttons a little bit more. It's not the main topic at hand here. Just Liam. Here we go. This is the first time I've seen this number. Hey, we would take that. We would take ninth for 160 grand happily. This team's rare. Now, I wonder if what's unlikely to be updated for this is I really doubt Gus Edwards' 20 points is being captured in this, but maybe. I don't know. Patrick, if you're out there, you can tell us. So pretty cool that Patrick got this. The team of mine, someone sent me a clip of ship chasing where they clicked this a couple times and my name finished like top 3, like 3 out of their 5 clicks or something. But the team of mine that it really seems to like is that Puka Nacua team, which makes sense. That team has studs everywhere. Those guys project well, so it makes sense that that would be a well-liked team by the projections. So play around with this if you wish. This stream, by the way, is sponsored by me. I have some more playoff content live on my site, beatbestball.com. Released an hour-long video today where I did a couple drafts, talked about things, read an article that I wrote. So if you want to sign up for my best ball content, we'll be providing content next year as well, of course. It's $100 for the year to be a paid member. And if you sign up now, that will get you covered for all next year, best ball, the big board, what have it. So check that out. This almost runs better on mobile because it doesn't like auto pop one up on you. But so cool that Patrick's got this up and coming. The other thing that Patrick released is he released the ownership percentages on players. And let's put me over here. They put the ownership percentage on players. I know, Josh. It's a steal. $100 a year. If you're a volume player, you're a fool for not enrolling. So Davante Adams is the chalkiest guy, 32%. And this is a reminder that regular season chalk is not necessarily going to be playoff chalk. However, a guy like Saquon, he's still 11% owned after kind of a dud week. So Saquon becomes all of a sudden a pretty nice leverage piece, but he's still relative chalk. Jamar Chase, he's not the chalkiest guy, but he's still relative chalk after going 16%. And whoever scores well this week, their ownership could really condense. For example, if Davante Adams is one of the highest scoring guys again, we might get 70% owned Davante Adams in the finals. All of a sudden, he becomes a terrible player to have in the finals. So some cool things here. My favorite team has Puka on it. We got Puka on 2.5% of teams. Of course, not every team can make it, even if he scores well. So he will be low owned no matter what. Bijan Robinson, 4%. That's pretty low. There are some sickos who's got, there's some Ty Johnsons down here. There's some Kareem Hunts. There's some Hendon Hookers, some Brock Wrights. There's some McCole Hardman, some Tyquan Thorntons, some Jerick McKinnon, some Hassan Haskins. 2 people got that for them. Some Sam Howells. They're sick. They're sick that Gino's going to play. Some Jawar Jordans. I did some of that myself. Some Evan Hulls. You're in good company. Taysom Hill at quarterback. Some real sickos got that. Deneric Prince. I myself have one of these teams. Aiden O'Connell. He's suiting up. That's good news for Brock Bowers. Marvin Harrison Jr., probably the lowest owned 100% drafted guy in the contest. 1.5%. Anthony Richardson just misses that moniker himself. But like all these other guys, they're not 100% drafted, right? So it makes sense that they're low represented. Someone like Marvin Harrison Jr. was 100% drafted and is barely represented at all in the playoff team. So, he gets the Rams. He had his best game of the season against the Rams week 17. So those teams are primed. Hollywood Brown, some people are getting some of that. 2.5%. Tank Dell, 2.25%. Jonathan Taylor, 199 teams of that. My Puka team has Jonathan Taylor and Puka. So 2 major leverage pieces on everyone. So that's my best team. We want to get that team in the finals. So some cool things there. The cooler thing that I want to look at is these are the players with semifinal teams left. And so Cosmic Buck leading the way with 16 semifinal teams. Can you imagine? Absurd. What a run for Cosmic Buck here. And the way this is done best is if you do this and coincide with how many playoff teams they had. Because I've always been someone who has said, I'm not an advance rate bro. And people hate that. They hate that. Oh, what are you, an idiot? You want as many teams as you can get. Well, let's see how Cosmic Buck did here. 43 teams. So pretty well, honestly. He had strong advance rate. Makes sense he had a lot of semifinal teams. How about the Wizard? The Wizard advanced 1 team in the semifinals. And if you guys remember, I've been someone who have said that Wizard, who had one of the highest regular season advance rates, like I would not trade my portfolio with him. And people were like, what are you, crazy? He advanced 69 teams. Of course, he drafted better than you. You only had 20 teams. Well, how many teams do I have in the semifinals? Wizard got 1. I got 5. So one of the better people in the contest, right? There's a bunch of people with 5, a bunch of people with 6, some 7, 9. A real sicko outlier number. We're 16 here. Some friends of the channel here. Mythology, saw him with 7. And Star Kindler, he had 3 the year that I had. He had 3 the year that I won BBM. Leone did well as well. Did good as well. But why was I not willing to trade my portfolio with Wizard, despite him having an awesome advance rate? Is because if you go into our exposures, I didn't like how Wizard structured his exposures, right? Like to have an absurd advance rate, 70, 75 teams, 100 teams, you inherently had to do shit like this. You had to take Alvin Kamara 65% of the time. You had to take Darnell Mooney on 99 of your teams. Derrick Henry on 87 of your teams. So there's some good in here. There's also some bad. Jelani Woods And this is not a shot at Wizard, right? Like, this is not the point of this exercise. This is just to explain how this game is complicated and how, yeah, people want to like throw stuff at you when you're like, haha, you're a best ball creator and you advanced 20 teams, or I advanced 50 teams. I'm a genius. I drafted Saquon every time, right? And it's like, no, you're not. You just really went, you had really high risk tolerance. Maybe you don't even realize what you're doing exactly, but you are drafting a very similar team and barely differentiating it, right? Like these are the guys he's only drafting one team. Also, like he ran super good on this, full faded Brandon Ayuk, got hurt, right? Like Ayuk would have smashed, I think, once he got through that early season slump. Full faded all the 49ers. I mean, is this guy got a crystal ball or is he running good? Nearly full faded Jamar Chase. I bet he would take that one back, right? And so if you are going to draft like this, there is absolutely a universe where Wizard advanced every team. That's something I've said all along as well. You are correct. Wizard could have advanced the same team, again. But here is the truth. If you're going to draft like this, you are duping yourself. You're duping yourself a lot, duplicating your own team. And that feels really good to some people. They want the glory. They want to show up in the finals, and they want not only to win, they also want to get second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh in the same year. They want to be a legend, right? That's stupid. That is straight up stupid. I'm going to tell you why. You can only win the contest once. So you may feel glorious that year, where you do this and then all your guys hit in week 15 and all your guys hit in week 16 and you show up in the finals with like 25 teams. You feel like a god. I am the best. But as far as your win equity, it's not even that great showing up with 25 of the same team, because it's the same team. You have not covered yourself for different bases. So if we compare these exposures to someone like myself, who I think previously have drafted riskier, and I made a concerted effort after having, there's been years where I've had 6 semifinal teams and I didn't get any team to the finals. So by the way, me having 5 semifinal teams, it's awesome. I really think some of my teams are good. There's no guarantee I get a team to the finals, obviously, but I made a real effort to diversify myself in some areas and not in others. I have no one over 30%, right? And also like Jerome Ford, he's coming into his own. Like who I have big stands on is really not that important. What you are noticing though is most of them are cheaper guys. Luke McCaffrey cheap, Will Shipley cheap, Zach Moss not that expensive, Ray Davis cheap, right? Like who's the expensive guy? Kincaid, semi-expensive, capped at 30%. Brandon Ayuk was the riskiest stand I had in my portfolio. Ran bad there. 33 teams, 22%. Rome Odunze, somewhat risky due to his cost. Again, capped it at 21%. Zay Flowers, expensive guy. Don't have a heavy exposure to him. Jamar Chase, also one of the riskiest stands I had because he was a first-round pick. However, when you know, you know. James Cook, risky because of expensive. Rico Dowdle, cheap. Not risky at all, right? Christian Kirk, somewhat risky because he was expensive. Watson, pretty cheap. Corley, super cheap. Demarcus Robinson, super cheap. Purdy was a mid-round pick. Curtis Samuel was somewhat risky, honestly, because his price went all over the board. But you're not seeing me try to like what someone like Wizard is doing is what I call flowering, where the right way to do that in my mind is like, let's say you pick 5 players in varied rounds who you feel are mispriced. So let's pretend you were the best ever this year and your 5 players were Jamar Chase, Nico Collins, Joe Mixon, Khalil Shakir was a good pick. We'll include him too, and Brian Thomas Jr. We'll include those are your 5. So almost every single team of yours, you're trying to get those guys. But from there, You're varying. That is less risky than what Wizard did, right? Or like for me, if you look at my quarterback exposures, which you really can't do on BBMDB, there are some positions I'm more willing to be risky on than others. And that's because, like quarterback, I want a varied player pool on quarterback because, yes, it is a skill based position, but I think a lot of different quarterbacks could be the guy week 17. Running back, I want a big player pool on. Running backs can get hurt, backups can become starters. Who falls in the end zone matters a lot. Wide receiver is one of the positions I'm more willing to be risky on because I think it's a talent-based position. Like if you are confident a player's talent level, that's important. Tight end is another one to be somewhat varied on because who falls in the end zone matters so much for fantasy, right? So yeah, like it feels awesome during the regular season to have 80 teams advancing. It does. It feels way better though if those teams are varied, right? So if someone drafted like me but had 80 teams, obviously I would swap teams with them because they have 80 varied teams. I'm not trying to swap my somewhat varied teams though with a guy who just has the same team 80 times. And that's what like people can't seem to get through their heads. They're like, no, more teams is better. They're not understanding what it takes to get more teams. It is a complex game, right? There we go. We like this. We like this. So, yeah, Brian Thomas Jr., he's on a lot of my teams. It's, obviously luck is part of the game, man. Luck is part of the game. So I can't really, like, you saying you went 0 for 22 doesn't tell me a lot, right? Like, it's also why I think you need multiple years to really judge a best ball player. Me winning Best Ball Mania 2 didn't mean a lot. Me having 6 semifinals teams that year, though, somewhat noteworthy. Me having 6 semifinals teams that year, 5 this year, 6 another year. I think I had 3 one of those years. Overall, that's a really track record of way above expectation of semifinals teams. That alone is not a data point that proves anything. But I do believe, yeah, if you can show up with more semifinals teams by the way, I've never advanced more than 30 teams in Best Ball Mania in the regular season. So I am, and what am I expected to have? Like 1.5 teams. 1.5 teams, And you got to run good somewhat. But how am I doing it? It's because I also have conviction on some guys. And those guys I'm correct on. And they have a good week. Like Brian Thomas. But I'm not being crazy. I'm not having 80 Brian Thomas teams. Like I have 20 teams. I have 13%. And I had way more at different times of the year. So it is amazing that and that's how everyone here who has a lot of semifinals teams, it's because they are taking the same guys again and again somewhat, but they're also varying it, right? And so, yeah, you can look at this at your own, but another thing that I would like to talk about is some people had a bad experience with Best Ball Mania and they're crying about pod luck and they want to change the structure. I would give 2 advices there. Number 1, contest selection is key. So if you don't understand the contest you're playing, you really have no one to blame but yourself. And if you don't like to play really top-heavy tournaments where you can turn $25 into $1.5 million, but it's extremely difficult, don't play them. There are different contests. I've seen some people pushing bad information, though, on the internet. Some people say, you know what you should do? Rather than drafting 150 Best Ball Mania teams, you know what I should do? I should draft 750 puppy teams. It's a volume game. That's all it is. It's all about volume. I mean, that's ridiculous for multiple reasons. Number one, not everyone wants to be the guy who drafts 1,000 teams over the summer. Everyone has time in their life. Personally, I don't want to draft 5,000 teams, right? The amount of teams I do currently is like near my limit. So I don't like to do slow drafts. I don't want to just crank volume. I don't think that's correct. Personally, what I would recommend for anyone who doesn't like harsh advance rates is rather than doing 150 best ball manias, maybe you do 10 big dogs. Yeah, you're putting a lot of eggs in one basket, but those advance rates are very much easy, right? Like the DraftKings 555, the advance rate's 2 out of 12, and then it's 2 out of 10, so one out of 5 basically. And now this week it's 1 out of 7. So I have 2 teams left. It's 1 out of 7. If they can make the finals, I got a shot at $1 million bucks. So I would recommend doing a mixture of higher stakes contests with better advance rates. Underdog does a great job of giving a lot of different contests, right? Like they have the $50 ones, they have, whatever. So make your choice there. Some people are saying that like, oh, you know what I need? I need to just do the sprint. That will reward me. I will be rewarded if I do the sprint because I'm the best. And so I need the sprint. I need to get rid of the pod randomness. I need cumulative points week 15 through 17, as if that is not also have a lot of randomness, right? Like, is it first off, you need to still have the nuts in the advancing teams. Second off, you need to advance. So your guys' injuries occur. That's randomness that could happen. Is it that meaningful that like Lamar scored 40 and Jalen Hurts scored 20? Is that a huge skill difference where you drafted Lamar instead of Hurts and you just knew you'd get a 20-point difference? No, that's random. That's a little bit random that happened in week 15, right? Unless you were like, no, Lamar against the Giants, that's the skeleton key, which maybe you were, right? But I don't think the sprint is going to solve a lot of the issues that people are whining about. I think some people just want to whine. So, yeah, just wanted to get some of that out there. It is cool. So we got above 10 teams. There were 6 users. 6 users got 10 or more. 3 users got 9. 3 got 7. 14 got 7. 28 to 60, about 32 or so got 6. Am I doing that right? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I'm doing that right. 31 got 6. 5, lucky number 5, which I'm a part of. 61 down to 145. So about 80 or so teams got 5 left. I'm noticing some people who watch a lot of my streams, like Pepper Tony, probably use some of my rankings, some of these people as well, beatbestball.com. And yeah, you can look at the rest, but pretty cool stuff there. Thought it was an important discussion to close the advanced rate bro conversation. Like, don't get me wrong. If I could have 80 diversified teams somewhat reasonably, I would do it. But it's hard to advance 80 diversified teams. Oh yeah, I could definitely do that. Change it to count. Good point. So not going to be a super long stream today. I'll probably do a playoff thing or whatnot. What would your dream build be? Dude, it'd be my Puka team. My Puka team's the nuts. Let's simulate this until we get me. 1/19. It's hard to advance a team, period. Absolutely it is, man. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay. Yeah, this team is rare. Just Kyler and Herbert. Let's do this till we get my Puka team. I should show up somewhat regularly because I got, 5 chances. Marshawn Lloyd. Jeez, man. Marshawn Lloyd, dude. What could have been? Hey, the Wizard, his one team. Yeah, this is my best team. Maybe JT would be Gibbs if I could swap it, but JT's low owned. He gets the Giants week 17. So pretty nutted. This is the team the sim loves. Understandably, it is the nuts. We finished 300th in this one. The Wizards team, we gotta look. We gotta look that the Wizards in here. Tua Goff, of course. Gotta be Tua. Henry Cook Jones. Dobbins might return. Jefferson Nico. Dobbs Mooney. I don't know how this team's making it out, but it might. And yeah, this is why I preach wide receiver quality. Is, if we go back to the Wizard there, he does have wide receiver quality with 2 of his guys, but then he's got a bunch of scrubs, honestly. I mean, Dobbs and Mooney are not scrubs. They're nice, but they're not stars. And then he's got like 3 scrubby level players. Like, it's just hard for this to advance again, and then win. That it's really hard. Conversely, this team of mine, it's got, 3 like starish players, and then it's got like Brian Thomas Jr. also maybe a star, so like 4 star players, and then Calvin Ridley and Christian Watson are like very conceivably can score 20 or over. So like, they're strong 2s, and then Demarcus Robinson even is a decent piece to have. It was not. It was the first team I drafted after the schedule dropped. So we thank Patrick for giving us this cool tool. If anyone wants to play around with it, be my guest. Oh, we in here? 75th. We're getting higher. Same team. I think there's one guy that has Gus in that. Someone asked me about how do I feel about the teams in my pods. I looked at my pods in my last video, so I'm not going to do that again. I would just go look at that video. We're in there again. Marshawn Lloyd, 13.3 points, by the way. I understand what this guy's saying, Nick. That's actually the draft round I took him in. I took him in the 13th round with pick 3. How many points did your winning team put up? I did put out a tweet with that whole team, but it put up 200-something points when it won. I just did this on my phone a couple times, and I finished like top 10. Obviously, that's not going to happen in reality at any rate. Like all else equal, I'm probably rooting for my Josh Allen 555 teams, just because if I get those teams to the finals, I have a 1 in 38 chance of winning $1 million, which is better than 1 in 579. But Max Glory, we repeat as champion as Best Ball Mania. Further stamp our place on the Mount Rushmore over here and stick it to the haters. Come on, we got to get a top 10. Let's just keep doing this until we get in there. Top dog. Yeah, I think it's 38. So, dude, I agree. I love it. I love it, but it truly is. I mean, he's not released this data, but I'm sure like what do you guys think the over under is for um what do you guys think the over under is for amount of times clicked on this? Could you advance both of my 555 teams? They both have Josh Allen, so if he's the nuts, maybe. Ideally, I get a team in the best ball finals and this. I don't know how conceivable it is that I win Best Ball Mania and the 555 just because the teams are not that overlapped, but I'm sure it's possible. You know, like what I need to have happen there is that like the 555, just like no one is nutted. And then I do have the nuts here and no one has those nuts in the 555. Star Kindler, you watch the streams. What you got here? Hertz and Kyler. There are some injury questions hanging over this week as well. No, it is no website that I know of other than the FFPC will put you against yourself in a semifinal. I don't think so, Chad, because I'm just refreshing hands off and it's going to pop open a lineup. See, I'm not doing that. Oh, you're saying if I go here, I've never opened a lineup and then I do it? Let's see. I understand what you're saying, Chad. Okay, cool. So now it's not auto opening on us. We got to get one in here just for fun. Mullet hunting. I wore a mullet for like 2-3 years of my life in college. Fun fact. Back when I played rugby. I don't know how I had a team. Someone showed a team where I got first and seventh. It must be the Nico, Mike Evans, Jamar Chase teams. It must be those two teams because I have that start on 2 of my teams. Someone asked about Brian Thomas Jr. I got him on a lot of my teams. Sim in the Sims. Fizioli. Quit now, Slim. I love some of these names. Cool people. Love that one. Mr. Papercut. Terrible name. Boo. Boo that man. I mean, this one didn't even refresh. Big Daddy Death. Ridiculous. Trevor Brown. Just Brad. Brad. Hell yeah, man. Patty 89. Seen that name a couple times. Brad again. All right, we'll do 10 more clicks. 1. Daddy 19. Savage Jack. 2. 3. Flex Fantasy Football. 4. 5. 6. Come on now. 7. 8. 9. Lucky number 10. Thanks, Dan. That's enough for me. That's enough. Yeah, I mean, it's hard. I mean, it should give you some of a picture, right? Like some people are like, oh, I haven't got my name to show up at all. And it's like, look, it's hard, man. It's really hard. 11. Injuries. Let's get to those. So AJ Brown, who I need on one of my 555 teams, looks like he's going to play, but who knows? Like he got hip dropped. Tyron Tracy's gonna play. Legette's out. Drew Lock, maybe that's nice for Malik Neighbors. Aiden O'Connell, good to go. That's pretty big news for Brock Bowers and for Trey Tucker and Jacoby Myers. Roshan is back, which, could steal a touchdown from DeAndre Swift. It seems like Cade Otton's doubtful. Not officially, but not sure we'll see him. A.J. Brown said he'll play. Alec Pierce is out. Jalen Waddle is doubtful. David Njoku, Q. Curtis Samuel, I don't know how meaningful that is. And that's it. Joe Mixon. Like, he had a hip drop ankle too, but he seems fine. You love when you have video of the players. And the other things you can do, guys, is you can go to the team's main page and they tweet out their practice reports. They're required to. Can take some scrolling, though. So we got Joe Mixon as a limited practice participant on Thursday. And then for A.J. Brown, it's like the hard thing with A.J. Brown is like, is he going to be a decoy out there? You know what I mean? Doesn't matter for us for best ball, but A.J. Brown, limited practice, knee/rest on Thursday. Saquon also resting. Oh, no, but he's full practice, so he's fine. Hurts full practice. So most guys are fine there. Any other injuries, guys? People are Pollard. Let's see. Titans. I think in general, defenses just get worse as the season goes on. So it's like, yeah, you might not be able to see Tyrone Tracy scoring, but it can happen, my friends. Like, not many people were thinking a shootout. Ken Walker is good to go. He's not even on the practice report. What the heck are the Titans doing tweeting so much garbage about? Where's your practice report? Like, dude, stop wishing everybody happy birthday. Fine. Some teams have like reporters tweet it out. No sign. Kenneth Murray, Tony Pollard, and Morgan Cox went inside after team stretch. So he seems like he might play, but I don't think so. Titans injury report is the other thing I type in. Here we go. Yeah, they're having their the ESPN guy. So Tony Pollard on Thursday. It is Friday, but we don't have those. Did not practice. Doesn't seem great. So Ken Walker seems 100% good to go. He's random. Guys, I drafted Ken Walker 8 times in Best Ball Mania. I actually liked him. He just got quite expensive towards the end. And what is going on? Getting phone calls here. Yeah, I drafted Ken Walker 8 times. I actually liked him, but he got a lot expensive towards the end. And he's on 3 of my remaining 5 teams. So that's how random this game is we play. Now, why is that? Because I was drafting Ken Walker more earlier in the season, and my early teams are the teams that smashed. But it's funny. ETN or Amari? Amari Cooper? John, are you asking to start sit question? First off, thank you for the super chat. Are you asking to start sit question? Or are you asking for their injury practice report? I don't think either of these guys are injured. Who would I start between Travis Etienne or Amari Cooper is how I'm assuming you're taking that. And I think I do, if I needed a solid floor, I would do Travis Etienne. if I could accept a 0 point, like if my team is worse than the other team, I'm like, damn, that team is way better than mine. And I need to roll the dice on a guy to score me 30 points. Then you play Amari Cooper. But if you just need 10 to 20 points, I would play Travis Etienne. He had like a season high of usage last week. And their schedule's not that hard. But it's not a fun decision, John. So looking at the schedule here again, I think you just kind of have to, against the Raiders, just roll the dice, I think, with ETN. Amari could just get bageled again. That's he has a high ceiling. He could catch 3 touchdowns for 150 yards, but he could also literally catch no balls. And now Keon Coleman's back and Dalton Kincaid is back. So it's kind of a nightmare over there. Give me 1 second, guys. Never mind. We're back. So yeah, that's I think we'll do a playoff draft or two before we get out of here. Yeah, I think Ray Davis is like a defensible roll of the dice. He some people might be wondering why not Ty Johnson? He's also fine. But if the Bills get up 20 points and they're going to run out the game, that's kind of what Ray Davis does. Ty Johnson catches passes. So he's more likely to go off in a competitive game. So I do think Ray Davis is a defensible roll of the dice because you got to assume the Bills are going to be like up 20 and running it out. And that is kind of what they'll use Ray Davis for. Yeah. Who are you asking about? I mean, DTR, it's not great for Jerry Jeudy. It is good though for Jerome Ford and Njoku if he plays because he's going to dump it off a lot. Since BBM 2. So 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 4 years. I didn't even play BBM 1. And I mean, who knows? Like Elijah Moore, maybe he catches 10 dump offs. You never know. You never know about this stuff. And like DTR could get in there. You could get hit really hard and benched, and then Jameis is back in there. Like that could happen for sure. Yeah, he is. All right, Otherworldly. We're really hoping this guy is an Eagles fan, a Chiefs fan, a Ravens fan. Let's get Josh Allen at the 102. Almost never happens. You can see his ADP is 1.1. But you never know. I think I'll just do one and get out of here. I mainly just wanted to talk about the semifinals teams and like how advancing a ton of teams in the regular season doesn't necessarily greaten your chance. Like these guys probably all advance strong. But it's not just like a pure number game. Like I don't think Mythology advanced an outrageous amount of teams. And he got 7. How'd our friend Mythology do? Mythology, known for 28 teams, he got 7 through. Right? By math, he should have gotten like 5. Or he should have gotten one team through. All right. Hurts at the 102 again. Let's do it. Again, if you're looking for more playoff best ball content. I got that live on the site. I should do some streams here. Like, I should do some solo playoff best ball content on this channel too eventually, not just on my site, but gonna let the real best ball season breathe first, finish out week 16, and hopefully we have a sweat week 17. I do. I've been there myself. I think Allen is just a more dominant quarterback than Mahomes in his ability to take over a game. It's obviously very close. Mahomes is still awesome, but I think he is, and I think more people will be willing to accept that when Josh Allen's won a Super Bowl, right? Like I personally don't need the randomness of a playoff run, which is like akin to rock, paper, scissors, shoot, to have that answer, but yeah, I do. There you go, Rob. I think everyone out there would trade less teams overall for more teams in the semis. And that's what I'm good at. Yeah, I mean, the Bills could have lost to the Rams, but I hear your point. That season was so crazy because that's the year I won BBM2. I was like, this is my year. And if the Bills had won that game, not only would I have probably won the FFPC challenge that year for 500K because I had like the effective nuts left if the Bills win. But also I maybe win the gauntlet that year because I just like jammed Josh Allen and the Bills that year. So I made money that year, but I didn't make any teams to the finals because all my teams were dead, obviously. Hey man, thank you. Appreciate that. Could see that. Could see Lamar having a good game too. I mean, Lamar Jackson has a wide range every week. Yeah, Kamara's likely out for the season. Okay, so this guy's going Allen Goff. I think that's totally defensible. You use Allen as your advance rate piece. Should obviously go a Lion here. If he goes like Allen Goff, NFC player, that doesn't make any sense. But yeah, you can just like, I've had to do this sometimes with Hurts, where, and this is ideal for me because I get Devonta Smith with Cook, because he could have gone like Smith, Shakir. But I've had to do this sometimes where I like get Hurts and then all the Eagles are gone and I'm like, fine, whatever. Hurts is just Hurts and I'll just use him to advance something. Do I think Davis will be jaded on the Chiefs next year? No. No, I don't. That one's hard to say, Nightmare. Because he got banged up, so I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't think he's going to, like, play more. I don't know if you're asking if he's going to play any more or just, like, play more. Ooh. You know, what I'll say is you can advance without a tight end, and then if you get Ott in week 17, he gets the Panthers, so you got a chance there. But, yeah, it's a little bit of a look away. So a bit annoying that this guy went Shakir because it doesn't make any sense for his team. He's building Lions plus a lone Shakir. Like, it would have been smarter for him to go Nico, Joe Mixon or something. Like, all he's doing is actively hurting me in this team. Yeah, it's just someone who doesn't know what he's doing. He's got Lions, Shakir, and Jordan Love. I guess he's going to go Packers, Bills with like a terrible stack that won't win, but yeah, don't like it from him. And I might as well go Nico here. They're going to make us. And Mixon. And this way I can go Eagles, Texans, and Eagles, Bills, which feels nice. because this guy's going Ravens, Eagle, Packer, Rams. Like, don't like what this guy's doing. This guy's building sensibly. He's got Eagles, Chiefs, logical. This guy's building Vikings, Ravens, logical. We have two people who are not doing super logical stuff, though. I would not bench a stud like AJ Brown, Michael, almost ever. Like, unless you know for a fact he's going to be a decoy, I would not bench him, because you're going to feel so bad when you bench your first round pick. And it's like, look, if he goes out there and he only gets you 10 points, he only gets you 10 points. It is what it is. But yeah, I rarely get cute and be like, I'm just going to bench the star, because it almost always in the long run doesn't work out. I think he was an okay. Yeah, I think it was a good process to draft. I don't think it was a good process to 100%. I personally was mixing that with so we'll go Kincaid. So we want to be live for Bills, Eagles still, and we don't want this guy to go Kincaid. Yeah, I like the Texans more than the market. Almost got Keelan. Kind of a weird spot here. Like, I could go Chiefs as well. It's kind of thin to do so many teams. Sure. I don't know. Honestly, I wasn't paying attention. Random worthy. In an ideal world, I would have gone Keon, but it's very unlikely with the Josh Allen drafter inside of us. Hey, Jack, happy holidays and good luck, everyone, this weekend as well. I could have gone Sam Darnold just to screw this guy over. It doesn't really do anything for me, though. Because the thing is, the Eagles could get the 1 seed, so I might take a second quarterback here. I could have taken Tank Dell, but like I could go Tank Dell here. I didn't really notice that this guy has no clue what he's doing, because he built Packers, Bill, Lions, random CJ Stroud. Don't know what that does for him. CJ Stroud was the guy I would have probably taken here if he was there. I don't really like Worthy for this team, honestly, but whatever. Can't be perfect always, right? Yeah, I mean, there's so many people that just straight up don't know what's going on, which is good and bad. It's good and bad. And now he goes Tank. So yeah, I probably should take a Tank here. And this guy goes Gainwell. All right. Okay. I don't know. We'll go Terry. And Jaden. Just in case the Eagles, almost all my Eagles teams have, I've just done solo Hurts. So I'm going to build for Eagles, Bills, Texans, or Eagles, Texans, Commanders, Bills, Commanders, Texans. And I'm not fielding a full Super Bowl roster for currently anything, which is not good. I could have gotten Ty Johnson here too, but I figured I'd just either take a Texan or a Eagle, or Like Gainwell went. The worthy pick was the mistake here. I should have been Tank or someone, or this guy should have drafted better, which he does. Like he's going Love, Stroud, Mayfield. No clue what he is doing. So I need a RB, 2 wideouts, and a flex. RB, 2 wideouts. I don't have a flex for anything right now. Yeah, I spread myself a little too thin. So I can go Ray Davis. I can go Mac Hollins. I could go Dawson Knox. I could go Dalton Schultz or John Mechie. So, like, I could take Grant Calcaterra. I don't know. I probably just go Ray. I don't love it. This could have been executed a little bit better. I like them both, Dan. I used to be able to end my drafts with both, but after this past weekend, people like Ty a lot. I go Ray. So I'm only really live for a full Super Bowl for one team, but you never know. You can win this without a full team sometimes. Nice thing about Calcaterra is Goddard might not return. I don't even know who took Goddard. This guy did for no reason. Oh no, he had Eagles. My bad. So really only live for Eagles, Commanders versus Bills as far as a full Super Bowl, but we'll get, if the Texans make it, we just won't have Tank, which honestly might not matter. So semi-live, semi-okay team. Not my best. Probably not my worst either. All right, ladies and gentlemen, crisp hour on this Friday. Enjoy football tomorrow. Enjoy football Sunday. It's going to work out great for some of us. It's not going to work out great for others. Just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. Good luck to you. Good luck to me. Enjoy your days. Tell your families you love them. Don't know what my content schedule will be like next week over the holidays. I think Davis and I are planning for Tuesday. I'll probably have a check-in on Monday. I don't think I'll be streaming at all on Christmas. And then hopefully I have a week 17 sweat or a couple, and we can check back in the 26th or 27th. Peace out. Enjoy your weekends.